Hello everyone, welcome back to the Margdarshak platform. So, as you people are aware that we are doing the polity revision to the articles. So today, yesterday we are done with the article 35 towards the article 35 from 1 to 35. Today we are moving with the next articles as we are done with the fundamental rights and citizenship in and three part of our constitution. So next we are moving towards the part 4, that is DPSP, that is Directive Principle of State Policy. So this is we will do in the session. So let's begin the session without wasting any further time. Okay. So first is the Article 36. Start DPSP started with the Article 36, that is the definition. Here in this part, unless the context otherwise require, the state shall has the same meaning in the part 3 as we have studied in Article 12. है ना? There we have studied the definition of the state. The same definition of the state will be applied in Article 36, है ना? So when in the examination you find the Article 36, then you don't have to write that the same same meaning, but you have to write that what is the definition of art of the state in part 3. You have to mention here, like in the part 3 there is a mention about the institutions like government machinery, like private institutions such as LICs are part of state. So this definition is also applied in the Article 36. So next is Article 37, that is the application of the principles contained in this part. Okay, so जो भी that applications are provided in this part have contained in this part. Okay, so the provisions contained in this part shall not be enforced by any court, but the principles therein laid down are nevertheless fundamental in the governance of the country and shall be the duty of the state to apply these principles in the making of the law. So Article 37 clarifies about the doubts about the DPSP. You will find much material, much more material in Article 37, and this can be applied in your upcoming examination, as there are repeated questions about the enforcement and the use of the DPSP, so you can quote this. Okay, next is Article 38, that says that state to secure the social order in for the promotion of the welfare of the people. So Article 38 said key state have to secure a social order for the promotion of the welfare of people. So you can read here. And next is Article 39, that says that certain principle of the policy to be followed by the state. Okay, so the principles are state shall be in particular direct its policies towards securing that the citizens, men and women, equally have the right to adequate mean of livelihood under Article 39 है ना. And then after the ownership and the control of the material sources of the community are so distributed as best of the servant of sub serve the common goods. Next is this, that the operation of the economic system does not result in the concentration of wealth and mean of production of the to the common detriment. Okay, so next is that there is a equal pay, that is कौन सा equal pay. The question may be asked in your upcoming examination that the equal pay is mentioned in what fundamental right, preamble, DPSP, fundamental duties. So you can get you can tick DPSP, but if there is a particular question about the article, then you can quote Article 39, that is related to the pay and work of the men and women, है ना. So that is okay. So next, Article 40 says, Article 39A, है ना, that is added with an constitutional amendment. The state shall free and legal aid for the people. So इसमें क्या है, state shall secure that operation of the legal system, promote justice on the basis of equal opportunities, and shall in particular provide free legal aid by suitable legislation or scheme and in any other way to ensure that opportunity for securing justice are denied to any citizen by reason of economic and other disabilities. Okay, so basically equal justice and free legal aid है. So that is a repeated question है exam में, मतलब कि you will find this question in mostly in every examination conducted by UPSC or any other state PCS examination. and conditions that who are like who get this opportunity under the legal justice and free legal aid. So that are also asked कि किस किस को मिलती है. So you have to remember किन किन को मिलेगी. Okay. So vulnerable sections such as senior citizens, such as transgenders. Okay. So उनको मिलती है. Okay. So next is the article 40 that says organization of the village panchayat under article 40. Okay. The state shall take step to organize village panchayats and endow them with such powers and authorities as may be necessary to enable them to function as a unit of self government. Okay. Next is the article 41 says the right to work, to education and to public assistance in certain cases. So this mentioned in article 41. Next is article 42 says the provision of for just and human condition for work and maternity relief. That is related to article 47. It says that there are provisions related to work conditions and maternity relief. Okay. 43rd it says the living wage etc for workers, like it says that there is certain safeguards for the workers who are working in organized or unorganized sectors for their living wages, so that they can earn living wage. Okay. Next is article 43A that says the participation of the workers in management of industries. That is part of, I think, socialist division. Okay. That is not required for your upcoming examination. Like for any examination you will not find the division like Gandhian, socialist, liberal, democratic वाला, ये कहीं पे नहीं आएगा. You don't have to remember, वो तो लक्ष्मीकांत ने जस्ट बना रखा है, उसके हिसाब से ही हो रहा है. ओके. नेक्स्ट इज आर्टिकल 43B दैट इज द प्रमोशन ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज, जो कि प्रमोशन ऑफ कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज है. बेसिकली कोऑपरेटिव सोसाइटीज को 97th कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट के थ्रू मतलब कि इसमें लाया गया था. ओके. फॉर्म फोल्ड में. ओके. नेक्स्ट इज द यूनिफॉर्म सिविल कोड फॉर सिटीजनशिप आर्टिकल 44. You can remember that recently Uttarakhand government has imposed the come with the uniform civil code for the citizens. Next is article 45 that is the provision for early childhood care and education for the children below age 66 years. Okay. So basically मतलब कि education for children is like included in fundamental rights, fundamental duties and DPSP all three. So this is the repeated PYQ question. So you have to remember this article 45 किससे related है and education and इनसे related. Okay. So next is article 46 that is the promotion of educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other weaker sections. Okay. That is the promotion of educational and economic institution. Okay. So इसमें क्या state shall promote करता है special care for education and economic interest of the weaker section of the people and in particular of the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe and shall protect them from the social justice and all exploitation. Okay. So this can be asked in your upcoming examination because it has an importance from the vulnerable section part. Okay. Next is the duty of article 47 that is the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living and to improve the public health. Okay. So state shall regard the rising of the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of the public health as among its primary duties, and in particular the state shall endeavor to bring about prohibition of the consumption except the medicinal purpose for intoxicating drinks and of drugs which are injurious to health. फिर आर्टिकल 48 says the organization of agriculture and animal husbandry से related आर्टिकल 48. ओके. है ना. इसमें दे रखा है कि स्टेट shall endeavor to organize agriculture and animal husbandry on modern scientific lines, shall in particular take step for preserving and improving breeds, prohibition of slaughter of cows, calves, and other milch and drought animals. So this is the concept from the science, like what is the milch and what is mills and what is drought animal. So you have to comment them so that everyone get benefit out of that कि कौन सा mills animal है कौन सा drought animal है. Okay. So next is the 48th A that says the protection and the improvement of environment and safeguards for forest and wildlife. So this also mentioned in the fundamental duties as well as this is also mentioned in the fundamental rights and DPSP. Okay. So you have to remember this. Next is the article 49 that is the protection of monuments and places and objects of nature national importance, that is also article 49. Okay, article 50 says separation of judiciary from executive, that is the PYQ. Okay, from UPSC only. The state shall take step to secure to separate the judiciary from executive in the public service of the state. Next is the article 40 51 says promotion of international peace and security. The state shall endeavor to, this is also PYQA. You have to remember world peace related promotion of international peace and security, ये वाला आ रखा है, so please remember this. Okay, so इसमें हो गया promote international peace and security, फिर हो गया maintain just and honorable relationship between the nations. C हो गया foster respect for international laws and treaties, obligation in the dealing of organized people with one another, and encourage settlement on the peace international dispute by arbitration. Okay, next is we are doing with the part 4a, that is the fundamental duties mentioned in article 51a, included by the recommendation of Swansea committee from with the, I think in the 40 second amendment act, सॉरी हाँ यस 42nd में सेकंड अमेंडमेंट एक्ट से इनको इंक्लूड किया गया था स्वर्ण सिंह कमेटी के रिकमेंडेशन के आधार पे. ओके, so fundamental duties it shall be the duty of every citizen of India. So क्या ड्यूटी है? To abide by the constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and national anthem, then to cherish and follow the noble ideas which inspired our national struggle for freedom. Third is to uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of the India. Fourth is to defend the country and render national service called upon to do so. Fifth कह रहा है कि promote harmony, spirit of common brotherhood amongst all the people of India, transcending religious, linguistic, regional, and sectional diversity, to renounce practice derogatory to the dignity of women. Okay, next is to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. Next is to protect and improve the natural environment, including the forest, lake, rivers, wildlife, and to have compassion for living creature. Okay, next says that to develop the scientific temper and humanism, the spirit of inquiry and reform. Next is to safeguard public property and to adjourn violence. Next is to strive towards excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activities, so that that the nation constantly rise to the higher level of endeavor and achievement. Okay, next is who is a parent or guardian of to provide the opportunity for education of the his child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 to 14. Okay, so as I told you that ki ये मेंशन किया गया था आई थिंक है ना 46th अमेंडमेंट एक्ट के थ्रू इसको जब है ना लाया गया था, एंड इसके आधार पे ही आर्टिकल 21A को भी लाया गया था. ओके, सो यू टू रिमेंबर कि एजुकेशन का तीनों में मेंशन है. ओके, DPSP में फंडामेंटल राइट्स में, एंड दैट इज फंडामेंटल ड्यूटीज में भी. ओके, सो दैट इज फॉर fundamental duties. Next, we are moving toward the part 4 of our constitution, that is the union. Here the chapter 1 says the executive. We will study the president and vice president of India and the articles that are mentioned about them, about their duties, about their terms and conditions, about their post. So we will do study them, okay, in this series. So article 52nd says the president of India, there shall be a president of India. Article 52 के द्वारा बोला गया है कि there is a president of India. Next, article 53 बोलता है कि executive powers of union. The executive power of union shall be vested in the president and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance to with the constitution. Okay, second बोल रहा है without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing provisions, the supreme command of the defense forces of the union shall be vested in the president, and the exercise thereof shall be regulated by law. Third बोल रहा है nothing in this article shall be are denied deemed to transfer to the president by any functions conferred by any existing law of the government by any state or any authority, or prevent parliament from conferring by law functions on the authorities other than the president. Okay, so you have to remember कि executive powers और union की वो वाली है कि यहाँ पे president is like you know a president is the head of the will be shall be exercising the executive powers. All the treaties and all the MOUs are signed on the name of president of India. Huh? Nothing shall be like the president of India is the defense force supreme commander of the defense forces. So that is article 53, that is about the executive powers of the union. 54 says the election of the president, the elections elected for an electoral college. इलेक्टोरल कॉलेज में कौन कौन होगा? बोथ द हाउसेस मेंबर इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स, रिमेंबर इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स, इसमें नॉमिनेटेड मेंबर्स नहीं आएंगे, मेंबर ऑफ बोथ द हाउसेस, यानी कि राज्यसभा एंड लोकसभा, लोअर हाउस एंड अपर हाउस दोनों मिलके आएंगे. ओके, एंड बी बोला इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स ऑफ लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज ऑफ स्टेट, स्टेट की लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबलीज से इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स आएंगे, है ना. फिर हो गया इन दिस आर्टिकल, in article 55 state includes the national capital territory of Delhi and the union territory of पुदुचेरी, है ना, पौंडीचेरी. सो बेसिकली इसमें है कि स्टेट के साथ स्टेट लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली के साथ नया देना दिल्ली की लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली प्लस पौंडीचेरी की लेजिस्लेटिव असेंबली के इलेक्टेड मेंबर्स भी पार्टिसिपेट करेंगे इसके इलेक्शन में, प्रेसिडेंट के इलेक्शन में. सो आर्टिकल 55 सेज manner of the election of the president, election of the like as far as practicable, there shall be uniformity in the scale of representation of the different state at the election of the president. For this purpose, securing such uniformity among the state inter se as well as the parity between the state as a whole union, the number of votes which each elected member of the parliament and the legislature assembly of each state is entitled to cast at such elections shall be determined in the following manner. Okay, so basically इससे इलेक्शन से रिलेटेड है, यू कैन रीड दिस, है ना. So that is related to election. Okay, election of the president shall be held in accordance with the system of proportional representation by single transferable vote, है ना. सो बेसिकली सिगरेट वॉलेट के है ना बैलेट के माध्यम से होता है. सो यू हैव टू रिमेंबर दिस प्रोपोर्शनल रिप्रेजेंटेशन बाय सिंगल ट्रांसफरेबल वोट. ओके, so next is in this article expression population means the population asserted by the date. Okay, provided that uh, refer the explanation in the last preceding census which with the relevant figures have been published sale until the relevant figures for the first census take after the year have been published and to be constructed as per the reference of 1971. बेसिकली अभी तो 1971 के रेफरेंस सेंसस के रेफरेंस से चल रहा है, बट अभी 2026 वाले सेंसस हुए होंगे उनके हिसाब से आगे अमेंडमेंट्स होंगे. सो नेक्स्ट इज द आर्टिकल 56, दैट इज द टर्म ऑफ द ऑफिस ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट. बेसिकली ये टर्म डिफाइन करता है 5 years होता है ना. प्रोवाइडेड द प्रेसिडेंट में बाय राइटिंग अंडर द हैंड एंड एड्रेस द वाइस प्रेसिडेंट, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट को अपना रेजिग्नेशन दे सकता है. प्रेसिडेंट में वोलेशन ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन be removed from the office by impeachment in manner of the provided in the article 61. So basically 61 article 61 में है ना impeachment of the president का जिक्र है ना, mention है. Okay, next is the stale, the president shall notwithstanding the expiration of his term continue to hold office until the successor enters his office. Okay, any resignation addressed to the vice president under the clause 1F of the improviso to clause 1 shall forthwith to be communicated with by him to the speaker of the house. Okay, people, house of the people. Next is the article 57 says eligibility of re-election of the president, the person who hold office who and or has held office as a president subject to other provisions of the constitution shall be eligible for re-election of the office. So article 58, next article, that is the qualification of the president of India. So basically shall be eligible for election of the president, citizen होना चाहिए इंडिया का, complete at the age of 35 years. Remember the age, qualified for the election of as a member of the house of people, लोकसभा का मेंबर बनने के लिए क्वालिफाइड होना ही चाहिए, है ना. A person shall not be eligible for election as the president if he holds any office of profit under the government of India or government of any other state or under any local or any authority or other authority subject to the control of any of the state government. Okay. For this purpose, our people shall not be deemed to hold any office of the profit by reason only that he is the president and vice president of the union or governor on any state. Okay. Next is the Article 13 for such 59. That is the condition of the president of president's office. Or conditions है president's के office की we can see in this. The president shall not be a member of either house of the parliament or the house of the legislature at of any state, and if a member of either house of the parliament or the house of the legislature of any state be elected as president, he shall be deemed to have vacate his seat in the house on the date on which he enters to the office of the president. So यहाँ से हम infer कर सकते हैं कि a sitting MP can fight for the run for the election of the president. Okay. MP, MLA can run for the election. Okay. Next is the president shall not hold any office of profit. The president shall entitles without payment of the rent of the use of his residential shall be also be entitled to such emoluments, allowances, privileges as may be determined by the parliament by law and until provisions is in that behalf so made and such emolument, allowance and privileges are so are specified in the second schedule. Okay. आर्टिकल सॉरी इसका फोर्थ क्लोज बोल रहा है द emolument and allowances of the president shall not be diminished during his term, मतलब कि diminish नहीं कर सकती है parliament or any of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Okay. So Article 60 says oath and affirmation of the president. Every president or person shall acting as the president and discharging the function of the president shall before entering upon his office make and subscribe in the presence of the Chief Justice of India or in absence of this of him, the senior most judge of the Supreme Court, available an oath and affirmation in the following form, that is to say, the President of India will be the best of my ability and preserve and protect the defend the ability. Okay. So and one more thing that you have to remember, I uh, Ambedkar, sorry, so, okay. Article 61 says the procedure for impeachment of the president. So, Article 61 has the procedure for impeachment of the president. So, it says that is when, okay, president is to be impeached for the violation of the constitution, charge shall be preferred by the either house of the house or either house of the parliament. Okay, no such charge shall be preferred unless the proposal of to prefer such charge is contained in the resolution which has been moved after at least 40 days 14 days advance notice in the written signed by not less than one fourth of the total number of member. Okay, remember one fourth, okay, of the total members of the house has given their intention to move the resolution. Such resolution has been passed by the majority of not less than two-thirds of the total membership of the house. है ना? When charge has been so preferred by either house of the parliament, the other house shall investigate the charge and cause the charge to be investigated, and the president shall have the right to appear. Okay, right to appear to represent at any investigation. If a result of the investigation of the resolution is passed by majority of not less than two-thirds of the total membership of the house or by which the charge was investigated and goes to be investigated and declare that the charge preferred by president has been sustained, and such resolution shall be effect of removing the president from the office of the date at which the resolution has been passed is passed. Article 62 says the time of holding election to fill the vacancy in the office of the president and the term of the office of the person elected to fill the casual vacancy. So, in an election to fill a vacancy caused by the expiration of the term of the office of president shall be completed before the expiration of the term, And second, that an election or to fill the vacancy in the office of the president occurring by the reason of his death, resignation, and removal, or otherwise shall be held as soon as possible after, or and in no case later than 6 months from the date of occurrence of the vacancy, and the person elected to fill the vacancy shall subject to provisions of article 56 to be entitled to hold office for the full terms of 5 years from the date on which he enters the office. So basically remaining टाइम के लिए नहीं आता, वो फुल 5 years के लिए ही नया जो इलेक्ट होके आते हैं वो फुल 5 years के लिए होते हैं. So let's discuss about the vice president of India. Vice president article 63 से start होता है. There shall be, so article 360 says there shall be the vice president of India. Vice president to be the ex officio chairman of the council of state. Article 64 says the vice president to be the ex officio chairman of the council of state, that is the Rajya Sabha. Okay, so next is the articles. It provided that during any period when the vice president acted or discharge the function of the president under article 65, he shall not perform the duties of the office of the chairman of the council of the state, and shall not be entitled to any salaries and allowances payable to the chairman of the council of state under the article 97. So 65th says the vice president to be acted as the president, or discharging his functions during casual vacancies in the office and during the absence of the president. Okay, in the event of occurrence of any vacancy in the office of the president by reason of death, resignation, and removal, otherwise the vice president shall act as the president until the date on which the new president is elected in accordance with the provision on the in this chapter fill the vacancy upon his office. So when the president is unable to discharge his functions owing to absence, illness, and any other cause, the vice president shall discharge his function. Okay, and the vice president shall during in or in respect of the period while he was acting as the discharging the function of the president shall have the powers and immunities of the president. Okay, to be entitled to such emolument, allowance, and privileges as may be determined by parliament by law until and provisions and on the behalf is so made such emolument, allowances, privileges are so specified in the second schedule. Okay, so next is Article 66, that election of the vice president. Vice president shall be elected by the member of the electoral college consisting of the members of the both the houses of parliament, है ना, in accordance with the system of proportional representation by the single transferable voting, and the voting at the such election shall be secret ballot. So the vice president shall not be a member of either house of the parliament or the house of the legislature and any state. If a member of the either house of the parliament or the house of the legislature of any state be elected as the vice president, shall have be deemed to have vacate his seat in that house on the date on which he enters upon the office of the vice president. No person shall be eligible for the election of the vice president unless he is citizen of India, completed 35 years of age. He is qualified for the election of the member of the council of the state. So next is the person shall not be eligible for the election of the vice president if he hold any office of profit under the government of India, state government, or any local authority और कहीं पे भी काम करा. Okay, for this purpose the article person shall not be deemed to hold office any profit or the reason. Okay, next is the article 67, that is the term and the term of the office of the vice president. Vice president के office के terms क्या होती है? Shall hold office for the term of 5 years from the date of his enter the office. Okay, so vice president may writing under the hand and address the president and resign. Okay, vice president be removed from his office of the resolution of the council of states passed by majority of all the then member of the council and agreed by the house of the people, but no resolution for the purpose of the clause moved unless at least 14 days advance notice has been given of the intention of the move the resolution. Okay, vice president shall notwithstanding the expiration of his term continues to hold office until the next his successor enters upon the office. Article 68 says the time of holding elections to fill the vacancy in the office of the vice president and the term of the office of the person elected to fill the casual vacancy. So basically इसमें बोला गया है कि vacancy shall be by expiration of the term of the office of the vice president shall be completed before the expiration of the term. An election to fill the vacancy in the office by reason of the death, resignation, removal, otherwise shall be held as soon as possible after the occurrence of vacancy, and the person elected to fill the vacancy shall, subject to the provision in the Article 67, to be entitled to hold office for the full 5 years terms. Okay. Next is Article 69, that is the oath and affirmation of the Vice President. Every Vice President shall, before entering upon the office, have to make on subscribe before the चीफ जस्टिस, सॉरी प्रेसिडेंट. ओके, वाइस प्रेसिडेंट को मतलब कि शपथ कौन दिलाता है, ओथ कौन दिलाता है, प्रेसिडेंट दिलाता है. प्रेसिडेंट को चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया दिलाता है. ओके, चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया अगर अवेलेबल नहीं हो तो सीनियर मोस्ट जज दिलाता है. ओके, अगर प्रेसिडेंट का पोस्ट अगर किसी भी तरीके से वैकेंट है तो पहले किसको प्रायोरिटी दी जाएगी, पहले वाइस प्रेसिडेंट आएगा. अगर वाइस प्रेसिडेंट का भी वैकेंसी है तो फिर चीफ जस्टिस आएगा. अगर चीफ जस्टिस भी नहीं अवेलेबल है तो फिर सीनियर मोस्ट जज आएगा. ओके, और 6 मंथ्स में इलेक्शन कराना मैंडेटरी है. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज सम पर्सन्स अपॉइंटेड टू बी, ओके, ओथ एंड अफर्मेशन. ओके, सो Article 70 says the discharge of the president function in other contingency. The Parliament may make such provisions as it thinks fit for the discharge of the functions of the president in any contingency not provided in this chapter. Okay, पार्लियामेंट ये पावर है कि वो मतलब कि दे सकती है मतलब प्रेसिडेंट को. ओके, सो आर्टिकल 71 सेज मैटर्स रिलेटेड टू और कनेक्टेड विद द इलेक्शन ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट एंड वाइस प्रेसिडेंट. सो बेसिकली ये वाले doubt and dispute arising out of connection with the election of the president and vice president shall be inquired into and decided by Supreme Court. इलेक्शन कमीशन नहीं होगा, सुप्रीम कोर्ट होगा, है ना. ये रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इलेक्शन कंडक्ट कराने की इलेक्शन कमीशन की होती है, इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया की होती है, बट हाँ इनकी मतलब कि डिसाइडिंग फैक्टर है वो सुप्रीम कोर्ट है. ओके, if the elected person of the as president or vice president is declared void by the Supreme Court, act done by him in the exercise and performance of his powers and duties of the office of the president and vice president, as the case may be, on or before the date of the decision of the Supreme Court, shall be not be invalidated by the reason of this declaration. So if any president is declared void, then the work done by him before the judgment or shall be in the force, they will not going to be nil and void. Okay, subject to the provisions of the constitution, parliament may by law regulate any matter relating to or connected with the election of the president and vice president. Okay, election of the president person as vice president and president shall not be called question on the ground of existence of any vacancies or for whatever reasons among the members of the electoral college electing them. Okay, Article 72 says about the pardoning powers of the president. The president shall सस्पेंड कर सकता है, रेमिट कर सकता है, कम्यूट कर सकता है सेंटेंस को. ओके, द प्रेसिडेंट शेल हैव द पावर्स टू ग्रांट पार्डन, रिप्रीव, रिस्पाइट, रिमिशन ऑफ द पनिशमेंट, और टू suspend, remit, commune the sentence of any persons convicted in the offense. Okay, in all the cases where the punishment or the sentence by the court martial. Okay, वो भी देखता है, कोर्ट मार्शल से रिलेटेड केसेस भी प्रेसिडेंट देखते हैं. इन all the cases where the punishment or sentence is for an offense. Okay, against any law relating to a matter for to which the executive power of the union extent. Okay, in all the cases where the sentence to be the death sentence. Okay, वो भी president के दायरे में आता. Okay, nothing in the subclause of the clause 1 shall affect the powers conferring by the laws on any officer of the armed forces of the union to be suspended, remit, commute a sentence passed by the court martial. Okay, nothing shall affect the powers of to suspend, remit, and commute a sentence, death sentence exercised by the governor of the state shall under any law before the below for the time being in the force. फिर हो गया इसमें 73rd, extent to of executive powers of the union. So basically इसमें रेमी मतलब कि जो पार्डनिंग पावर थी इसमें काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स की एडवाइस मैंडेटरी है. ओके, that is the extent of the executive powers of the union. Subject to the provisions of the constitution, the executive powers of the cell extend to the matter with respect to which parliament has powers to make laws, to the exercise of such rights, authorities and jurisdiction as are exercisable by the people government of India by virtue of any treaty and a agreement, provided that the executive powers referred to in subclause shall not save any expressively provided in this constitution or in any law provided by the parliament or extend to any state. Okay, to matters with respect to which the legislature of the states has the power to make law, continue until otherwise provided by the parliament, by the state or any officer or authority of the state may notwithstanding anything in this article continues to exercise in matters with respect to which parliament has the power to make laws for that state, such executive powers and functions of as a state or officer or authority thereof could exercise immediately before the commencement of the constitution. Okay, so next is the Article 74, that is the Council of Ministers से related. Council of Ministers mention है to aid and advise of the President in Article 74. So इसमें there shall be Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister as the head to aid and advise of the President, who shall in exercise of his function act in accordance with the such advice. Okay, provided that the President may require the Council of Ministers to reconsider such advice either generally or otherwise, or the President shall act in accordance with the advice tendered to after such reconsideration. Okay, the question whether any or if so what advice was tendered by the ministers to the president shall not be inquired in any court. Not be inquired in any court. Okay, so next is Article 75 says other provisions as the ministers. So Article 75 says the prime minister shall be appointed by the president, and the other ministers shall be appointed by the president on the advice of the प्राइम मिनिस्टर. सो प्राइम मिनिस्टर को बेसिकली प्रेसिडेंट अपॉइंट करता है, फिर प्रेसिडेंट के साथ मिलके प्राइम मिनिस्टर की एडवाइस पे प्रेसिडेंट द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स को अपॉइंट करता है. ओके, नेक्स्ट इज द मेंबर ऑफ द आइदर हाउस ऑफ द पार्लियामेंट बिलोंग टू एनी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी who is disqualified for being a member of that house under para 2 of the 10th schedule. 10th schedule is basically about the anti-defection law. Shall also be disqualified to be appointed a minister under the clause 1 for duration of the period commencing from the date of his disqualification until the date on which the term of his office as such member would expire, and there where he can contest any election on the either house of the parliament before the expiry of such period till the date on which he declared elected, whichever is earlier. Okay, so next is the minister shall hold office during the pleasure of the president. Council of ministers shall be collectively responsible to the house. इंडिया में होता है बट वहाँ पे यूके में नहीं होता ये. Before the minister enter upon the house upon the office, the president shall administer to him an oath of office and of secrecy according to the forms set out of by the purpose in the third schedule of the Constitution of India. So next is the a minister who for any period of the 6 consecutive months is not member of the either house of the parliament shall at expiration of this period cease to be a minister. Okay, the salary and allowances of the minister shall be such as parliament may from time to time by law determine, and until parliament so determines shall be specified in the second schedule. So in the second schedule में मतलब कि उनकी salary से related provisions दिखाए गए हैं. Okay, so that is for today. Now we are done with the 75 articles in last two sessions. Today we are done with the कितने sessions? We are done with the 40 articles. Okay, so next we will try to do as much as article possible in the next session so that we can complete this challenge in 10 days. We try to do this in 10 days. Okay, so for today that is enough. Let's revise it again. Revise it by the PDFs that I will provide in the Telegram channel. You can join the Telegram channel. The link will be provided in the description box. So that is for today. We will meet tomorrow with the next articles. We will start with the Attorney General of India tomorrow. Okay. Goodbye.